this episode, I'll be talking about a night of mixed emotions for me performing comedy. I bombed terribly at an open mic. Hello, welcome back to Al Talks. This podcast I started 3 years ago to chronicle me starting stand up. This podcast is a weekly podcast. It comes out once a week, and this is just a small little introduction video into the podcast. So down below in the description of each episode, you can go to my Linktree and find links to everything connected to me. This podcast is available on YouTube, which you're watching it on right now, and also on Spotify. But yeah, that is just a small introduction into this podcast and everything that goes along with it. Hello, welcome back to another podcast episode. In this episode, I'll be talking about a night of mixed emotions for me performing comedy. I bombed terribly at an open mic. It was the Smithfields Creatives one. It was in a new location because before they were in the Bernard Shaw. This place was the Backpage pub, which is not that far away from the Bernard Shaw. But to be honest, I don't know what happened that night. It was just the audience was really, and I know in comedy it's not always the audience's fault, but it was just, I think I got, to compare it in terms of the worst bombings I've had in comedy, it compared to All My Friends pub gig that I did probably years ago at this stage. I think 2 years ago. Oh, jeepers. Oh, I'm tired. But yeah, it was like, I got, I think, one laugh, and it wasn't even about the joke that I was doing. Well, it kind of was. It was basically saying a lot of stuff I was doing on trains, and I don't know. It was just it was just very very weird. I don't know what happened. To get such little response from jokes that I thought were great was it's very dejecting, and obviously wasn't very thrilled about that. But then I had plans to go back because this gig wasn't in Dublin city centre, it's a little bit out. So on my way back into the city centre, I popped over by a great room, Trial by Laughter. And as I walked in, someone had cancelled. So Coleman was like, "Do you want to do 5 minutes?" I was like, "Yes, 100%. I just bombed like half an hour ago." And it's like, "Yeah." So I go up on stage and I tell the audience, "Look, this is my second gig of the night. The first one, it was terrible. So let's see how well this goes." And then people started laughing. I was like, "Well, it's off to a better start than that already." But that ended up being a great 5 minutes. It was very very bubbly, fun audience, very responsive, and it's just really enjoyed myself. So kind of a bit of redemption there for me, and it 100% did boost my spirits. And just chatting to my fellow comedians afterwards who performed that night, and I was like, oh man, it was just, and I got a compliment from a fellow comedian that I haven't seen in a while. He's like, "You've really improved in comedy. I could see you've been writing an awful lot." And I was like, yeah, I have, which is true. Like, I've wrote a lot of material this year, probably more so than any other time. Just been constantly writing, and trying that stuff out on stage. As we're kind of approaching the end of the year, things have become different in my life. basically what I had planned to do this year didn't really work out. So, like, comedy had to kind of take a back foot. Now, in saying that, I'm up to 25 gigs so far. I don't know if I'll do any more because work is going to get really busy now leading up to Christmas, and it's just going to be a lot of mayhem. I usually take the entirety of December off anyway, so if anything, it'll be, I don't know, November, maybe try and do one or two more gigs, but looking like, I don't know, maybe not. Might just call it a year on that, but I'm not sure. It was, it was definitely a mixed night. Kind of a terrible bombing followed by a great gig, and it really got me thinking. Like, this is a lot of comedy. Sometimes it's trial and error. Other times you don't really know what's happening, and you kind of have to roll with the punches essentially most of the time. But I tried my best. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like I said, did feel very dejected, wasn't in a great mood. But then going down to hang out with my fellow comics and friends became a great thing. Did it 5 minute spot, and it was fantastic. So completely turned the night around for me. And okay, but yeah, so kind of put me on a strange feeling, definitely, because like I haven't bombed in a long time. I've been doing really well in comedy, and and it did really put me on my back foot, because I was fully expecting it to do well, because I've Smithfields Creatives is just a general open mic. There's music, there's poetry, there's rappers at it, and it's a great community event. You get to meet different performers from different various art forms, and it's just kind of, I don't know, because I've done well before at Smithfields Creatives, and the setup of the room wasn't, it's not that it was bad or anything, it's just, I don't know, it's just very confusing time. It's just, I don't know what happened, but it did happen. So, but we live and you learn, and but hopefully over time this will not become a common issue. Well, it hasn't really. Like, I've done maybe two, I don't know, like, how many bad shows, other than the one in my local town was bad, but I think that was the last time it kind of did bad. But this is a couple of months ago at this stage. This was during the summer. We're not heading into winter. But yeah, so that's kind of the roundup of that day, which was certainly eventful. Could have done without the bombing, but I don't know. What can you have? I was kind of, when I wasn't doing really well, I was kind of half considering switching tact and going to some older material, but then I was like, nah, just take the beating, roll with it, But that will conclude this episode, because I have things to do. Well, I'm bulk recording this and I have to go to work soon, so. But yeah, as per usual, all the links down below to all the good folks that support me, that I support them. And as per usual, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I'll see you all next week. Bye bye.